Hello, guys. My name is Caitlin Sinclair Chappelle. I am with CBR, and we're at San Diego Comic-Con, and we're very lucky to have the cast and crew of Prey with us today. I'm so excited to talk about this movie, and I'm going to start off with you, Amber. You are playing the badass warrior who's willing to take on the Predator. What was it like preparing for such a role?
There was a lot of preparation of all kinds. I mean, first and foremost, the fact that she is a Comanche woman. Mm-hmm. You know, Comanches are known for being incredible warriors and hunters, and also having it be set in this time period, you know. Dan developing and choosing a character like that, a lot comes with her already. That's just kind of like built-in badassery. But then, you know, practically there was also we Dakota and I and all the other boys did a 4-week boot camp in Calgary before we started shooting. And we had, weapons training, so the tomahawk for me, of course, and then like spears, archery, knives, stuff like that. And we worked with the stunt team. We had a personal trainer and developed a sign language based off of real Comanche sign language. So there was a lot of, on top of just regular like acting preparation. So there was a lot of different levels of preparing.
And Dakota, I would love to hear more about what it was like to be part of this boot camp.
Yeah, we did a lot of bow work with, we had an awesome Cree trainer up there. He was a cop. So we would like move in formation. We would, he would teach us about lasering. It was basically like weapons, like modern weapons tactics that we brought to this, but also kind of brought a little bit of native flair to it. I did a lot of horse riding out in the wilderness, which was therapeutic, but also immersive for me to kind of get in the mindset of it all. It was awesome.
That sounds awesome. And Dane, you are playing the Predator himself. I would love to know, what was it like taking on such an iconic creature, and what were some of the challenges that came with playing such a role?
Having the opportunity to follow in Kevin Peter Hall's footsteps was obviously a tremendous honor and responsibility. Just coming in every day for all those months, there were some days it was hot, there were some days it was smelly. There were some days it was very physical. Most days were smelly. The foam latex, we had 6 suits, and they had a little. Each one had their own particular scent to it.
Yeah, you could see them like wringing out the suit, and I assumed, and there's even a time where we embraced, or I just did a little whatever, and I was like, oh man, they still got the goop on you, and he's like, that's not goop, that's my sweat. Like, oh, it soaks all the way through. Like, it goes through.
It's like this thick.
Yeah.
Calgary in the middle of the summer is very temperate. There's instances where I would squat down in my knees and sweat would kind of shoot out of my suit. It was great. I loved it. It was so much fun.
And shifting over to our director, Dan, I would love to know, what was it like taking on the responsibility of adding a new chapter to this legacy of the Predator, and what specifically did you want to bring that the past films may not have touched on before?
I mean, frankly, I wanted to do a lot of things that the original '87 film did that hadn't really been done since, especially like the surprising stages in which you see the creature in this movie. But also, the original Predator is so much an '80s film, and I think that many of the sequels have tried to replicate that '80s vibe. Sometimes in an awesome way, sometimes maybe less so. The thing for me that was so exciting was to make a movie that had a much more rootable main character, someone that all of us that could connect to, and make it less of an action horror sci-fi mashup and much more of an adventure, suspense, historical, epic sci-fi horror mashup.
And Jhane, I would love to talk to you as the producer when it came to this being, adding that historical element and focusing so much on the Comanche people. What did you want to explore in regard to this setting, in regard to this culture as it lumps over into the Predator franchise?
Yes, well, I'm Comanche myself. I'm an enrolled member of the Comanche Nation. So just to see my culture portrayed is like amazing. And the fact that usually as a producer I work on projects that maybe have 20% native content, 25, but this film had 100% native content. So it was like, yes, and Dan was really great by listening and, giving me a great creative license, because they used to do it like this, and they used to do this, and this is worn like this. Even like developing all of even the war paint, you know, to each of the characters, because you could see a difference when, like, let's say Tabe is just regular Tabe without any paint, and then once he puts his war paint, it just gives him such spirit, and it really adds to those characters, especially for Amber, you know, with the strength. So for me, it was, I mean, this is my dream project, and it was great.
And I would love to know for each of you, what was your favorite memory during production? And we can start off with Dakota and then head our way around in a circle if that works for you all.
You know, I always go back to the horse just because that was such an awesome. I mean, like you sit in the saddle for 8 hours while you film, you know, one scene for, you know, the movie, and you know, you don't see it on camera, but there are so many people behind the scenes, and you know, you're on this 1,000-pound beast, and if he goes off the wrong way, or if he, you know, loses his temperament, somebody could get really hurt. And so it's like it's a lot of power, but it's also a lot of harmony going on, and it's pretty. I don't know, it was amazing for me.
Awesome, Amber.
You know, there's so much flash in my brain when you said that. There's so many stories, but I think probably one of the loveliest ones I can think of too, but is for me a scene that is not in the film between me and a young girl in the Comanche camp. And I think it was a scene that got added, right? It was not originally.
Yeah, you're right. It was a little bit.
At some point, from like the first version I had read, at some point it got added, and it was just really like, it was kind of like big hunter to little hunter, you know, like two females, and it was just this really sweet thing, and like I felt really good doing it. And Dan came up to me afterwards, and he was like, "That's that thing that happened." He was like, "That's the movie." Like that thing.
The wind was blowing. And it was like really spiritual and like very emotional and sweet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sweet thing in this crazy movie was awesome.
It was like very profound, and it really kind of became like we referenced it a lot. That was really early on in the shooting, so like we referenced that a lot throughout the movie as like bring it back to that thing, and then so that was really like to me a huge part of what we were doing was that scene.
I mean, you were terrible in it. That's why we cut it out of the movie. But no,
it was like say something nice about me for too long. So I was gotta bring it back around.
For me, I guess two-part answer here. The burnt glade, that whole sequence was such a tremendous challenge. We shot that relatively early in the shooting schedule, and I was still kind of getting used to the reins of this thing that I was controlling. So
he thinks it's relatively early because it was for you, because you didn't show up in our shoot until way later.
Yeah, minus my 2-week quarantine I had in Canada and all that, but the whole burnt glade sequence and you know the way that turned out. And then part 2 is Dan every Friday. It was a staple for me. Dan has a thing called Fluffernutter Friday, and as an East Coast boy, Fluffernutter, marshmallow fluff, peanut butter, white bread. Can't be anything else.
Yeah.
That is like pure summer camp childhood dreams right there, and that would bring me back, and I would look forward to every Friday to Fluffernutter Friday, and that was my exciting little
You even made me a shirt.
Yeah. I did, yeah, Fluffernutter Friday.
That is one of my favorite memories. I forgot about that. But no, I will say, this came up earlier, we were talking, the scene where she, it's a very small nuance, where the way she flips the tomahawk to loosen her binds. And I probably referenced Jackie Chan more than any other person who directs a Predator movie, and I just have a real hankering for swashbuckle in movies, like the way people move, and to make sure that there isn't just awesome fight sequences or sci-fi elements, but just in these tiny little moments, can there still be some swashbuckle? And I was obsessed with her doing something cool with that tomahawk. And there was bad weather coming, and we had to wrap soon, and I was like, I was very doubtful that it was going to happen, and you were like, Dan, I got it. Like you said something that was like made me like, cause I think I was like, well, we'll just give up on it. I felt like silly for having us try so hard, and you were like, I got it. And then she did it, like that take that she said, like, I can do it, like it happened, and it was magical, and we all cheered, and there was a camera move with it, so it all had to kind of come together, and it was awesome. And it's a tiny little thing.
It was a tiny thing that felt like a whole lot of pressure.
Yeah. You did well.
First of all, everything that Amber does is amazing. And so, and I got to see this every single day, which was great. But when her mother first saw the film, and her mother was like, so when she threw the tomahawk and it went into the tree, did she really do that? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, oh my God. And that other thing, did she do that too? And I'm like, yes, she did that. She did that. Yeah, like her mom was just like, crazy about it. But this is a period film, but yet you have the predator, so there are so many moments that draw you into different spaces. And so you get caught up watching the film, and then I liked when the predator's in the burnt glade and he's stomping through, and all the Frenchmen are like, I'm gonna kill him, and they have their one-shot guns, right? And they shoot, and it clicks one time, and then he's still standing there, and they're like, merde, and so it's kind of funny because because that time period, those were the weapons. Nobody had automatics, nobody had multiple shots, and then they all start trying to reload their things, and it was really funny. So I like that.
Well, it looks like we're wrapping up. So once again, I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to CBR. And once again, my name is Caitlin Sinclair Chappelle with CBR at San Diego Comic-Con. And this has been the lovely people behind Prey, which is coming out on Hulu.